We've got to go on the offense in the same way the left does. Constantly ask them, do you condemn the Revolutionary Communist Party? Do you condemn Angela Davis? Do you condemn the 3 founders of Black Lives Matter who call themselves open Marxists? Do you disavow? Do you condemn? Do you disavow? See what they say to it, because they won't do it. If they can't condemn Antifa, which is killing people in the streets, attacking people, burning down the country, how could they do that? What does this mean for the election in November? What do these endorsements mean? Well, it means that the Trump campaign, in terms of the ground game, is doing better than Democrats. You wouldn't know that from the mainstream media. The mainstream media are trying to tell you that Biden's poll numbers are doing great. He would win in a landslide if the election were held tomorrow. Well, Biden's poll numbers have been sliding, but that's not even the question. Right now, we're still 90 days out from the election. The polls don't mean anything. Unfortunately, with national mail-in voting, the polls might mean something because people are going to start voting much earlier than Election Day at huge numbers. I think that's partly the reason why the Biden campaign is trying to push off the debates and why they're trying to push up the time frame on which people can send in these mail-in ballots, is because the more you see of Joe Biden, the worse his numbers get, the more decay you see in that campaign. But just look at the ground game. So far, the Trump camp has registered 100,000 new voters ahead of the election. That's more than the Democrats. And actually, since the 2016 election, Republicans have gained 133,000 more registered voters than Dems in Pennsylvania, 216,410 more voters than Dems in North Carolina, and 87,000 more voters than Dems in Florida. This is according to state data that was just reviewed by Axios. Axios is a left-wing outlet. Well, Axios has been gunning for the Trump campaign for the past week or so. But those numbers don't lie. Those are important numbers in swing states. So no matter what the news media tell you, this thing that we were talking about yesterday, about the silent majority, maybe people who are not lifelong Republicans, people who are not your typical conservative, they're coming out and they're getting turned on to politics. Trump pulled out a whole new range of voters in 2016 that you hadn't heard from since the Reagan Democrats of the 1980s. Well, those people might turn out again. A lot of Trump supporters look different than the media tell us they're supposed to look. In fact, there was a group, I think it was called Blacks for Trump, Black Voters for Donald Trump, marched through Los Angeles just the other day. Take a listen to what they have to say.
Now, those are the Black lives that matter. Not what? Nothing? No cover on Old Magazine? How the 10-month-old that died over on Monday, no cover on Old Magazine? The 11-year-old, the 5-year-old in his own crib, no cover on Old Magazine.
Talking about kids who have been killed because of violence in the streets, not from the cops, but violence in the streets. Those Black lives don't matter.
Let's talk, you know. We're the only ones that talk.
They don't want to say anything.
Since Roe v. Wade in the 1970s, 46.
Very peaceful. It's not. You don't usually see people wearing Trump logos in the middle of Los Angeles.
Only in a demographic in the history of the world that a state stagnates.
And this contradicts the official narrative. You're supposed to say Black Lives Matter. You're not supposed to be holding up signs that have Trump's logo. And more importantly than that, people are talking about, the color of their skin, or they're talking about the Trump logo they have. But the biggest symbol that they're carrying with them is not the Trump symbol. It's not their identity politics symbol. It's not their skin color. It's the American flag. That's literally the biggest symbol they've got, right? It dwarfs the other symbols. That's the key here. I think some conservatives believe that you can divvy up the electorate in the same way that Democrats have, using the tactic of identity politics, which is you get people in a corner on their skin color or on their race, or rather, on their nationality, for instance, or on their sex, or on their sexual orientation, or their sexual preferences, or whatever, right? And you just keep divvying these up. You invent whole new identity categories, which the left has done systematically since the 60s. And then you get them to embrace that as their primary identity, and then they'll win. And some conservatives think, okay, well, if we just do that, but we get those groups to flip for conservatives and Republicans, then we can win. But that's not how it works. The moment that you divvy up the electorate that way and you make some secondary feature people's primary identity, they're already in for the left. That is the tactic of the left. The tactic of the left is division. The tactic is dissolution. The tactic is turning one against the unity of one's country to fundamentally transform society. So the way that conservatives can do it is by uniting people, bringing them in, giving them a vision of the common good. That's what Trump did. That was Trump's appeal in 2016. He said, we all bleed the same blood of patriots. Not black people should vote for me. but should consider themselves primarily black people. No, it's consider yourselves Americans. We're all Americans. It's that uniting message that is going to bring people together. The key here is not a Blacks for Trump sign. The key is the American flag. The left turns against the American flag. The right must embrace it. That's a choice, and it's a choice that's going to win out if they can make that pitch through November. If you enjoyed that break from disinformation, historical revision, and screaming about the end of the world, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss another video.